everyone, welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because the Lord Jesus is coming. Every day we are looking at some of the signs that are happening around us. Today we are going to look at some of the end time signs happening in Europe. Massive trade deals with South America and Africa give Europe the resources it needs. This is fueling an empire.
For the Roman Empire, Egypt was special. It was not governed like the other provinces, rather it was the personal property of the Roman Empire. No aristocrat was allowed to even set foot back in the country without the permission of the emperor. Why Egypt fed the empire? Control of this breadbasket gave enormous power, and the emperor did not want to risk anyone taking it away.
2000 years later, the principle remains the same. Control of resources means power. In an era of open trade, open oceans, and the United States Navy, we have had the luxury of forgetting this principle. But as tariffs multiply, trade war looms, and nations take out ocean passages as their own, reality is roaring back.
This is why European Union's involvement in two giant trade blocs is so significant. It is gaining access to the world's most important resources of raw material. The news has been little remarked upon, but it is a major step for European towards world power.
On 28 June 2019, the European Union and the Latin America trade bloc, Mercosur, announced agreement on a draft of the world's largest free trade area. This trade agreement will impact the whole world. It is going to affect your life dramatically. Why is this deal so important? Because it is about so much more than trade. It's about the arrival of a dangerous empire in America's backyard. The new agreement is a major official step toward a European-Latin American alliance. Former European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker called it a truly historic moment. Argentine President Mauricio Macri, who led the negotiations for Mercosur, said that it is the most important agreement we have signed in our history. The agreement creates a free trade area with a population of 780 million and an annual economic output of $21 trillion. It covers the four core nations of Mercosur: Brazil, Argentina, Uruguay, and Paraguay, and will abolish $4.5 billion worth of duties. Over the next 10 to 15 years, it will phase out more than 90% of the tariffs the EU and the Mercosur currently have on each other. Mercosur typically places very high tariffs on goods from outside countries. These tariffs will continue on goods from other advanced economies like United States, but not those produced in Europe. Meanwhile, it allows Mercosur to sell cheap raw material and agricultural goods to Europe. These are huge new advantages for German industry. But this is about much more than economics. The small print of the deal isn't out yet, but the outlines show that Mercosur is signing up to several of the EU's rules and regulations. The deal will also lock the biggest economies in the region, Brazil and Argentina, into an economic and political relationship with Europe. EU Trade Commissioner Cecilia Malmström said it brought closer friends and allies with whom we have long historical ties and with whom we work very well in many other areas. The two blocs already have close economic links. The EU is Mercosur's top source for investment and second biggest trading partner in goods.
Europe's strong non-economic links to the region will make it easier for it to continue drawing closer to Latin America. The region's strong cultural links with Europe date back to its conquest by Spain and Portugal. These powers used religion to cement their hold on the region. The populations of Argentina, Paraguay, Bolivia, Chile, Peru, Colombia, and Venezuela are all at least 70% of Catholic today.
About 40% of the world's Catholics live in Latin America, and the man born in Argentina leads the Catholic Church in Rome. The two also have a strong military relationship. Between 2002 and 2011, more than 49% of weapons imported by South American nations came from Europe. Between 2002 and 2011, more than 49% of weapons imported by South American nations came from Europe. Between 2014 and 2018, France and Germany sold significantly more to the region than did the United States. The continent is full of second-hand European warships and German tanks.
Nicholas J. Spikeman, one of America's great geopolitical thinkers, warned about the power a united Europe would have in Latin America. Brazil and Argentina are so far from the US, it is difficult for the US to project power there, he explained. For all practical purposes, it is easy to travel from Buenos Aires to Spain or Portugal as it is to travel to Washington, D.C. He warned that one of America's top priorities should be to stop Europe's unification. With such close links to South America, a united Europe would be difficult for the US to keep out of Latin America. And once a united European power is there, it can threaten the US. This is why Spikeman was an early supporter for war with Hitler and the Nazis. He warned against isolationism, arguing that even if the US could have avoided war with Germany over Europe, it could not have avoided a struggle with Germany for hegemony over South America. Robert Kaplan, another top geopolitical thinker, discusses Spikeman's ideas in his book Revenge of Geography. He warns that already one can see that the more united Europe becomes, the greater its tensions with the United States. A true European superstate with armed forces and a single foreign policy at its command would be both a staunch competitor of the US and possibly the dominant outside power in the equidistant zone of southern South America. The United States is going to be left out in the cold as two gigantic trade blocs, Europe and Latin America, mesh together and begin calling the shots in world commerce. On June 28, 2019, those two blocs meshed together.
And now, it's time for the trivial question of the day. Which is the second largest continent in the world?
Option A, Asia. Option B, Africa. Option C, Europe.
And let's see the answer after a short break.